third graders. Today we're going to be talking about writing division word or story problems. Sometimes people call them story problems, other times people might call them word problems. Our standard today that we're going to be working on is you should be able to solve and write division word problems. So we're going to talk step by step on how we are going to do that. So let's take a look at what page we're going to be working on. This is going to be on page 180 in your hardback Envision's book. So if you need to, pause the video right now and go ahead and grab your assignment from your Envision's hardback book, which is going to be page 180 on that page. So if you do not remember what your Envision's book looks like, it's going to look like this, and you're going to be again on page 180. So let's take a look at problem number 6. Now 1 through 4 we did together, so I'm going to skip to number 6, and we're going to take a look at problem number 6. And it asks you, when you write a division story or word problem, what 2 pieces of information do you need to include? So remember, you have to know what division is so that you know how to write a division word problem. So when we look at division, we understand that division is about taking a large amount and dividing or sharing it into 2 smaller amounts. Now, division is the opposite of multiplication. We know that multiplication is taking groups of a certain number in each group and taking all those objects and combining it into one large amount. Division is just the opposite. Now we're taking that large amount and we're taking it apart into smaller groups to find the number in each group. So it's the opposite of multiplication. So in division, we always start with our total objects. So step 1, we know the large amount of objects that we're starting with. So let's pretend that we have 15 objects. Now, when we write a division word problem, we want to know what those objects are that we're going to break up into smaller groups. So I'm going to write a sentence for this amount. So let's just say Jamie has 15 pretzels. So we're going to take those 15 pretzels and we're going to either break them up into groups or we're going to break them up into a number in each group. So our step 2 is we're going to put them into groups or a number in each group. So we have 5 as our divisor, and we're writing a sentence to go with that. There are 5 pretzels for each person. So now that we know step 2 is going to be, we know the number of pretzels for each person, step 3 is going to be the opposite. We're going to look for how many groups we have. So our question should be how many groups there are, or how many people are going to get pretzels. So how many people will get pretzels is going to be a question that we're solving for. So let's say that if we're going to start taking those pretzels and putting them into groups, I have how many groups? Well, 5 pretzels would be one group, so that's 5. Another group would be 10 pretzels, and another group of 5 pretzels would be 15. So now we've taken all 15 pretzels and put them into groups. So if you notice, we're counting how many groups of 5 we have. So we can say that we have 3 groups, or 3 people are going to get pretzels. So division, remember, is taking the whole group or the whole number of objects, putting them into smaller groups to either find the number in each group or the number of groups we have. Let's take a look at number 7. So the problem for number 7, we have an equation there, and the equation starts us off with 18. So we're going to write a sentence to go with our story problem that has 18 objects. So let's say David has 18 ice cubes. That's our first sentence in our story problem. We want to know how many objects we have. And what we're going to do with those objects is break them up into 3. Now that could either be 3 groups or 3 ice cubes in each group. Well, let's see what we're going to do. His mom asked him to put them equally into 3 glasses. So this sounds like we're going to put them into groups. Our glasses are the groups. Now, if we're looking for putting these ice cubes into groups, this is going to tell us that we are now going to be looking for a question to write. And since we know the groups, this is going to be how many ice cubes are going to be in each glass or each group, because the glass is the group. Now, if I start taking these ice cubes and putting them into the glasses, I will start putting them one by one into the glasses until I reach 18 and I'm completely finished sharing them. So right now I have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and finally 18 ice cubes have all been shared into the 3 glasses. Now you can see here that you have how many ice cubes in each glass? Right, we have 6 ice cubes in each glass. So again, we took our total number of objects and we shared them equally into the groups. So we are dividing. Now, of course, you can always check your division by using multiplication. So we know that taking those 3 groups with 6 in each group, if we add 6 plus 6 plus 6, that's going to give us our total, which is what we started with, 18. Let's look at number 8. Our division sentence starts with 25. So we have 25 total objects. We want to write a sentence that tells us how many total objects we're going to break apart. So let's say Angelique has 25 dolls. That's going to be step 1. We have a sentence that tells us our total objects, the 25 dolls. Step 2 is asking us to break up or share those dolls into smaller groups. So in this case, I'm going to write a sentence that has to do with 5. Now I could either say we're going to put the objects or we're going to put the dolls into groups, or we're going to know that there's 5 dolls in each group. Well, I've decided that we're going to arrange them equally onto the 5 shelves. So the shelves are actually going to be the groups. And since we know how many groups we're going to have, the question is going to be how many dolls are going to be in each group. So we need to ask a question that goes with how many dolls are going to be in each group or on each shelf, which is the opposite of what we did on step 2. So now we can show and model by drawing this out for ourselves. So we have 5 shelves and we are going to arrange the dolls onto the shelves. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're going to continue doing this until we reach 25 and have placed all the dolls into equal groups. So 5, 10, 15, and you'll notice these are all multiples of 5, 20, 21, 20, 22, 23, 24, and now 25. So if you look at the number of dolls that would be in each or on each shelf, you can see that there were 5 dolls on each shelf. Now, these are just examples. You are going to create your own based on the equation, but I'm just giving you some examples to help you with this assignment. Let's look at equation number 9. It starts you off with 16. Again, we're going to write a sentence that goes with a total number of objects. You want to go from a larger amount and break up into smaller groups or share them into smaller groups. So we're going to take 16, and we've decided Riley has 16 pencils. So those are the total pencils that we have. Step 2, we're going to have to decide, do we want to break those 16 pencils up into groups, or do we know how many pencils are in each group? So 4 is going to be our divisor. And we've decided that we're going to put 4 pencils in each drawer. So we know how many objects are going to be in each group. So now that we know how many objects are going to be in each group, our question is going to have to ask, how many groups are we going to have? So we need to ask the question of how many groups, and the groups are going to be the drawers. So how many drawers did he use to put the pencils in? Now, if we model this, I have my 4 drawers, and I'm going to share my pencils evenly into 4 pencils in each drawer. And you'll notice that I've used 4 drawers to put my pencils in. So my quotient is going to answer the question, how many drawers did he use to put the pencils in? There are 4 drawers. And again, just like division, we know that we are using it correctly if we can check with multiplication. So if I had 4 plus 4, which is 8, plus 4, which is 12, plus 4, which is 16, we know that we did it correctly because 4 times 4 is equal to 16 and is the opposite of division. We're skipping number 10 and going to go to number 11. So number 11 says, choose 2 of the stories you wrote, and then for each, tell whether you found the number in each group or the number of equal groups. So based on the question, did the question or is the question asking us to solve for how many groups, or is the question asking us to solve for how many objects are going to be in each group? So if you think about the last problem that we just talked about the pencils, we wanted to know how many drawers Riley was going to use to put the pencils in. So we were asked to solve for how many groups he would have. But if you think about Angelique's problem, we knew how many shelves we had, and we were putting the objects onto the shelves. So we were looking for how many groups there were on that one as well. But if you were talking about the ice cubes were telling us how many objects are going to be in each group. So you have to really think about, what is the question wanting us to solve for? So now we're going to take a look at doing our assignment. So our assignment is going to be our practice book. And in your practice book, and I'm going to change maybe our camera. So if you go to your practice book is your softbound book, and you are going to be using this practice book right here. The practice book, you're only doing the front of 7-5. So 7-5 is this right here, writing division stories. And we are going to only do the front of that practice book page. Now, if you look at number 1 is giving us an equation. The equation is 10 divided by 2 equals blank. Now, I'm just going to give you an example problem here. Anastasia has 10 M&Ms. She is going to share them between herself and Christian. The question would be, how many M&Ms will each one of them get? So we have our total, which are the M&Ms. Step 2 is we need to know the groups. So we know that there are going to be 2 groups, and the people that she's sharing them with are the 2 people or the 2 groups. Step 3 tells us we need to ask a question. Now, since we know the groups, we're going to need to know how many objects are in each group. So our question would be, how many M&Ms will each one of them get? Now, since there aren't very many lines in your practice book, I suggest you have a piece of paper and you write your word problems out on the piece of paper. And then you can attach or staple the practice workbook page out of the practice workbook onto that page. So if you have any questions on what we're doing for 7-5, or if you had questions on the assignment in your book, which was on page 180, please put them into Schoology, and Ms. Badger or myself will get back to you as soon as we possibly can. Have a great day, and I'm hoping that these really helped you understand division word problems better. Bye.